So, Raoul, I described in my introduction, as we see in the credits there, you were building upon the work of the journalist Lizzie Presser, who reported on this story for ProPublica. Along the way, she was joined by a ProPublica videographer, Mayetta Clark, who had filmed a lot with the Reels family, which is why you have, why we see them in the film through so many different years. And I believe the first time that you, when you came in the project, the first time you met the Reels family is that scene we see at the beginning of Gertrude's birthday party. Can you talk about what it was like for, the connection that you made with this family when you came in and started on this?
Well, in fact, we have I started to catch up on the studies and inquiry that Lizzie had made over 2 years and something. And of course, for me, the question was, how do I follow up on that, and what part do I take to make a film? Because I'm not a journalist, I'm a filmmaker. So, and I had long conversation with Lizzie as well. And then when I knew that there was this birthday party for Gertrude's 95th birthday, I thought it's a great occasion to meet everybody, because I knew not only the local family would be there, but also people from different parts of the country who wanted to celebrate Gertrude. And so it was in fact, very simple introduction. Lizzie had prepared them as well, that we were coming. And I took 2 camera crews to be sure that we can document that, not knowing what I was going to do with it afterwards. And I was introduced to them, and I really felt, in love with the family, because I recognized that place. I'm from Haiti, and it could have been in Haiti. It could have been my own grandmother, and the uncles, the nephews, etc. So, and the story, my father is an agronomist, so I've been all my life close to land issues, and land, and farming, and etc. So I felt totally at ease with the family, and they came to me as well. I was like a guest, and they would come and talk to me, and curious, because for them, making a film was really a sort of deliverance, because they have been carrying the story for decades, and they felt they needed that push now, that they needed allies to make sure that the story would come out of Cataract country.
I mean, the power of seeing the story condensed in a film is that you're able to distill 30 years of grinding legal battles and other acts of intimidation and violence, and it really makes me wonder, now that this film is out on Amazon Prime, available, so across the world for people to see. If people in the North Carolina community will be watching this film, and maybe they knew some of the story because they saw a headline, or because they knew about the case of Melvin LaCurtis going to jail, but would not know the full scope of the story. Any sense, now that this film has been out in the world, like, how it's being received?
Oh, I think it changed everything for the family. And I usually say, well, for me, this film and many of the film I make, it's always the beginning of something. It's not the end. I try not to make story and then, okay, you have your complete story and then you can go home and, forget about it. It's really about, what will come after that story. And the family is really totally involved now, not only to secure the rest of the properties, but also to have allies elsewhere, because they are not alone in that. There are many places. It's a systemic problem in this country. So, and we see it through the reactions of the audience, the more the film is being distributed. And today, Kim sent us a message saying that she's amazed how much people coming to them and asking them questions, and also in around Beaufort and Carteret County, and it's a real event for them, because they feel like now everybody knows they can't hide that story, because as long as it was kept in this little community, anything could happen to them. Now it's like not only that they feel that the film will tell the story for them, because it was a quite heavy weight for them to carry the
To retell
story
your story over and
all
over
the
again.
time, and try to to explain to people this incredible drama. And so the film is doing now the work for them, and now they really can concentrate on the rest of their life and make sure that it runs better for everybody.
Let me go to the audience for questions. If you've got one, raise your hand, and yeah, right in the hat. So if anyone didn't hear him, he was asking about, first of all, the 8 years that Melvin Licurtis spent in jail, and is there any chance of compensation for that, and then the hopes, if any, of getting those 13 acres back.
Well, the first aspect of the question is about getting some sort of money back. I don't think was ever an issue for them, and they are trying to recover from that trauma, and it's 13 acres that was stolen, but they still have like 65 left. That is important for them. Yeah, but of course, but again, that's how the film is built as well. I didn't want to center the film on that trauma. The family's life goes on. And that's why I started the film as well like this, that I wanted
Begin the
to
film
make...
with the party, and at the end you end with the party, and before you talk to Licurtis.
And I wanted people to first feel who those people are, that they are real human beings. They are not victims. They have a real life, and they didn't need anybody for their life. They were making, they had everything they need. They could fish, they could hunt, they could farm, and they didn't bother anybody. So the world come crashing on them. But their life continues, You could see they have this barbecue at the end, and, yes, there is a trauma. And you see, like Curtis at the end, yes, he should get help, but he's old and he doesn't see the necessity, and he's trying to deal with it the way he knows, But there are conversations. Everyone in the family tried to say, yeah, Lee Curtis, maybe you should see somebody, etc. He doesn't want to, and you can't force him. And I talked to him as well. So life continue. I made joke with him. We went in the forest with, the trauma is not their life, So the second part was about.
Well, I think it was about the land. It was about the years.
And also we hope that. We have a website, by the way, silverdollarroad.com, where you can see all the organization working on that topics. There are a lot of, movements. There are laws that have been changed in many different states. So the family have a GoFund, what do you call that?
GoFundMe campaign.
Media campaign, so that they can pay the lawyers. We found lawyers for them and association working for them, and trying to see what can they do to sustain the rest of the property, because there are a lot of things that can be done. So there's a lot going on, and we hope it's just the beginning of all this.
People can find the GoFundMe campaign
Yes.
at silverdollarroad.com.
Oh, well.
Yeah, right there.
So I wonder, with the challenges and the benefits of being from elsewhere and documenting this really African American, really specific, dialect, region, lifestyle, like what does that have? I mean, it was interesting to watch something that's so familiar to me as a Black American.
Well, I think that the distinction I would see is that because the industry here, the system, even documentaries, or a lot of the time they approach stories as something in a bubble. You come, you meet a family or an individual, and you go through his story, and at the end there is an end, and you can leave it and go finish whatever you were doing. And I try not to have that approach, and also to anchor the story in the bigger picture, in a historical context, a political context, and make it just one example of what's going on. And sometimes it's difficult. It's difficult when you have, your nose on it. Some of my colleagues, they are angry every day about what's going on in this country. I have a little bit more distance. I have other problems in Haiti. I have other problems in France. So and in particular this project, I came when the legwork was done. Lizzie had done an incredible job and talking with everybody. So I had the luxury to sit back a little bit and say, by example, I do not want to tell the story of both sides. It's not a story of both sides for me. I want them to have all the room, all the stage, and they are capable to tell their story themselves. I didn't want any talking heads. The people talking are only the family. And that judge, who was Anita Earls, who's a Supreme Court judge in North Carolina today, who has her own trouble right now. She's being censored. And because she was, for me, the representative of law, and she saw it differently, and she could expressly and with an authoritative voice. But that was it. I wanted the family to tell their story. And so that's maybe something different that I bring, because it's quite hard to resist the system the way it is. And I don't want to name names, but the idea was also, I was several times say, well, Raoul, why don't you explain at the beginning that the brothers went to prison? I said, yes, but that's not the story for me. It's a trauma, but it cannot be the story. The story is about real people. We have to acknowledge them first. And sometimes you cannot resist to that demand of, we are living in a world where people watching and zapping and so you have to announce right away what's the film about, and you end up, making a product, not a film.
Yep. Time for one or two more questions. Someone's got one? Yeah, right there in the middle.
Yeah, I'd just like to know, is there any possibility that the 12 or 13 acres will go back to the family, or is that a lost cause?
It's complicated because now the old man who owned, this white old man, 85-year old man, no children, who bought the land without even seeing it, never set foot there, where it became really for him and, sort of, who are they to, I bought that, it belongs to me. So he resent those years of battle. So he sold it to somebody else.
The deed was never real to start with, right?
Yes, but it was legalized, basically, by the judge. You had two legal deeds confronting themselves. And so today the land was sold apparently to I don't think he's a family member, but somebody who knew the family. We don't know what he's going to do with it. We don't think anybody who's not part of the family can do anything on that land, because you saw the last view of the road. You basically crossing black families on both sides, and most of them are the Rios family. So whatever you build at the end of that road, unless you come per boat every day, but you have to confront everybody. When a car goes there, you have to drive slowly, and you have to say hello to everybody, because everybody have guns, because they hunt, etc. And you can feel the tension there when somebody else comes there. Either you're friendly and you say hello, even the white surveyor who has to take care of the property, He is, you know, he has pressure, but he has to say hello to everybody on his way there. So it's a very peculiar situation. I don't see what they're gonna do with that piece of land without any negotiation, you know, or an acceptance by the whole family.
All right, question right here.
You don't sense the filmmaker's presence through the whole film until the last moments, when the last speaker is looking directly into the lens, and he starts to break down and he cries. Because we sense that he trusts that person so much. It's the first time we really sense the filmmaker.
Mm-hmm.
Was that you?
Yeah, that was me.
I wondered if you didn't farm it out to a camera person.
No. Well, there are many, you know, first of all, there are extraordinary footage of the different team who came with Lizzie because they wanted to document those moments, you know, even when they came out of prison, etc. There are a lot of footage, and for me, I work a lot with archives, so I know the value of archives, so I knew I would use that. And so before I even went there to shoot, my editor, Alexandra Strauss, and me, we already had 40 minutes of edit of 90 hours of material. So, and they were exactly, they did what I would have done, is just to be there and let the camera roll. That's why you can see you're with the grandmother. She doesn't say anything, but you're in the room with her. You can feel time passing. You know, and a lot of the footage were that. Well, they did a lot of interviews. They interview everybody, but I didn't need that much. I kept some of them because I decided from the get-go, Kim and Mamie are going to tell the story. So I used their prior interviews, and then of course I did my own as well because I needed to have them tell other part of the story that I needed. But the choice was clear from the get-go. So differently than in usual, when you start a documentary, you start again to shoot everything because you don't know yet what the story will be or who will be the best interview to tell the story. But I had already all those trials. So I knew exactly what I wanted. I could organize my shoot knowing I want to spend an amount of days with Curtis, with Mamie, with Kim, and organize, you know, what we wanted to do. So it was really a rare luxury to know exactly before you even go to shoot what you need, you know, and you could prepare. I knew Curtis, that last conversation is probably, I think it's one of the last things we did. And because I knew I needed more time with him. Because he's a man who doesn't speak a lot, and he's also in his head a lot, you know, reminiscing that trauma, you know. So he was very, again, he was at ease with me.
We need to wrap up inside here, although if you have other questions you want or comments you want to share with Raoul, invite you to do so out in the lobby. I hope you get to see more films here at the IFC Center in Village East. Thank you very much for coming. Thanks especially to Raoul Peck.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.